Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but isn't enough. It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the next round of the DM Cinematography Eldora Royale. This is your 2025 Wide Open Clothing Spray and Sprint Car Championship, and we are here tonight at Eldora Speedway for what is going to be a little bit of a different night. First and foremost, unfortunately, Reese can't join us here tonight, so you've got myself and Jade Kennedy behind the mic. So that's the first change. The second change, we don't have a spinning wheel this week. We have a spinning wheel of chaos. And what that's going to do is potentially change up the way the heats play out. The chaos wheel is effectively going to be an invert on each and every one of the heats, but will it be 3, will it be 4, or will it be the top 5 that will get inverted? And then you've got the track, you've got the cars, and you've got the drivers. What we've come to know, the Australian Sprint Car Series, is that it is chaos in and of itself, and the racing is absolutely phenomenal. So first off, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, grab the popcorn now, Jay, because otherwise there's not going to be another opportunity for a toilet break, to grab a snack, or to settle in.
Yeah, we know how action-packed the nights of dirt are, and this is going to be absolutely no exception. It's going to be a brilliant night of racing here at Eldora, one of my favourite tracks on the iRacing service, and it should be a fantastic night of racing with wide open racing the whole way through. Fingers crossed we see the track evolve to the point where we get multiple lines working as well. But one of the most infamous places within the world of Speedway, of course, famously hosted a few rounds of the NASCAR Truck Series as well. So it's had all sorts of action at this track, but it is absolutely iconic. The Half Mile Speedway in Eldora.
Yeah, 24 degrees with banking on the turns, back to 8 on the straights. It is 804 meters, technically, in Australian motocross language. That actually classifies as a long track, by the way. That's 800 meters is the denoter of where it actually falls on that spectrum. Opened in 1954 in Rossburg, Ohio. This is located right in between Indianapolis and Columbus, so it's home to the dirt in the area, but quite close to a lot of the central racing action as well. Right in that really, really interesting area. I cannot believe this place has been open since the 50s. There's also bigger prizes on the table here tonight as well. For the guys that win in the feature or feature on the podium, they are getting themselves a cash prize here tonight. $150 goes the way of the driver who's going to win tonight's DM Cinematography main. And the $75 will go to P2 and $40 will round us out for third place as well. Sorry, my apologies. It's the wide open cloning A main. It is the DM Cinematography Royale. That is what we're looking at here tonight. Heats are going to be 10 laps. Top 4 are going to jump their way straight through to the A main. Top 4 will advance to the B main from the C main. Of that will be 12 laps, and then you're going to have the 25 lap B main. 4 are going to advance their way to the A main, and we are going to have the top 16 in the A main ordered by points tonight. We will not be doing a top 10 invert by spinning wheel either. So there is a lot of changes here tonight. A little bit of a difference race, but the one thing that's going to be consistent is the action.
100%. There's also a chance that we may actually see 8 transfer from the B main. We are a little bit light on with numbers this week. There's a few that haven't been able to make it tonight, so we'll see how many we have turn up for racing. And yeah, we're not far off getting into qualifying, but qualifying and the heat races will allocate points. The top 16 or top 20, depending on what we get. It looks like it'll be top 16 will then be allocated as the drivers who will be gridded on points, and then the drivers that progress through from the B main, which actually is only 15 laps. I realise that I've done a typo in that one. They will then be gridded on their positions from that race. So very important to get a good job in qualifying and then win your heat to make sure you're up the pointy end. But winning your heat but having a good qualifying is going to be difficult with that invert as well. So there's a little bit of a curveball in amongst it all as well.
Yeah, and just challenges the big thing. The biggest part about that, of course, is the benefit of Eldora is the wider racetrack. What's the points look like after round number 4 of the ODSE Wide Open Clothing Sprint Car Championships for 2025? Well, Clayton Davies now stands atop the pile. Nathan Vanderwacker has moved his way forward as well. Bradley Oldfield sits in 3rd place, and have a look at the margins as well. It's going to be 16 points the lead, and then it's going to be a fair big old gap back to Bradley Oldfield, 54 points, in fact, back to 3rd spot. Ethan Winter was there and thereabouts for the first couple of rounds. Unfortunately, starts to slide his way back down. Hasn't been all that strong over the last couple of rounds, but then it gets really, really tight. And behind him, Matthew Gowan's only 2 points further back, and Craig Dunn 7 points further back. Paul Bryant, again, another 2-point gap. So you've got 4 drivers in the middle there covered by 11 points. Ayrton Smith inside at the top 10, 1 ahead of Bailey Leeson. Blake Walsh is going to round us out. And again, another 3-driver grouping, 456, 455, 454. 3 points separating those 3 drivers. That's the top 10 in terms of the championship. By the way, we are moments away from getting into Australian Speedway results qualifying. And the track has finally been opened to be run in. And have a look at the few drivers who are immediately looking to jump their way out and get some laps in. Clayton Davies, the first among them. So a little bit of an opportunity for the championship leader to rip and tear. By the way, Jay, I heard Brenton Hobson was actually firing up his personal stream again tonight. Apparently his fans were asking for a little bit of dirt action.
Yeah, it'll be good to see how Hobbo does. I know he's had some reasonable success at this track too. So fingers crossed he can have a good night, because we always look forward to seeing Hobbo do well. Drivers will get a couple of laps out here tonight before we will advance into ASR qualifying, which won't be too far away. So this track does evolve very, very quickly. So the drivers are hoping to get a little bit of a groove happening now, and then after that first or second heat, we may see a huge difference in the track.
One of the big things that we've been seeing all season is that huge difference in terms of track. A lot of speed around Eldora as well, with its 804 meters. The big banking in the turns as well gives us the opportunity for these things to really stretch the legs. So far, drivers in around the 12.6 marker looks to be one of the important ones. And then Ethan Winter just decides to go ahead and drop down to the fourth. So a lot of pace, a lot of opportunity to be quick here tonight. A lot of guys trying to read it out. And there's already a slick groove building. 30 seconds away from jumping into qualifying. And yeah, when you got your eyes on from the standings there, Jay, that you're looking to go strong in qualifying, particularly with that lap that Ethan Winter's already thrown down, that is the gauntlet being thrown.
I mean, I like it 100%. Ethan Winter looks strong, but he always seems to look strong, and then, you know, sometimes the night doesn't quite go his way. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see when QuickTime rolls around if everything goes in his favour, because it can very, very easily go against you, as we've seen many, many times throughout this series, that everything looks like it's going to plan, and 5 seconds later, the whole night has turned to rubbish because something you had a minor part in or something you had no control over happens right around you.
I think back to, was it last time out that we saw a whole bunch of guys who should be transferring into the feature didn't even make it. So qualifying now is going to roll off. There's a few drivers already taken to the track. I see Paul Bryan's out there, one of the first takers. Joel Berkeley, Brad Oldfield, and Craig Dunn. So we'll wait for the times to roll their way in nice and early as we get on with the number 9 of Joel Berkeley. Big shout out once again to the sponsors that make it possible. This qualifying session proudly brought to you by Australian Speedway Results. We get set for Oceanic Dirt Sim events. The 410s from Eldora. All of the power, all of the time in the 410s. Berkeley's going to set your first quick time. Goes to the top of the board, immediately eclipsed. No, has managed to stick that one. So for Berkeley, a great lap. Gets it in nice and early. 12.498 to jump himself to the top of the standings. Brad Oldfield is going to be P2. 12.558. So a little bit of a margin in between those guys. Gary Redcliffe, currently the slowest on the field, 13.270. His qualifying session is going to come to an end. And that is Luke Patton at the moment that is trying to do his best. Actually, that my apologies, that'd be Hadley Boyce on his way down past the start-finish side.
Actually, Jamie Russell, it's just come past.
Oh.
We've got multiple of the 27s out there.
Yep.
Which does confuse us all, and apologies, our graphics have just decided to completely freeze, so I'm just trying to fix that on the fly as well at the same time, but as you said, Cole Ferguson actually now goes fastest. There's a few drivers still trying to get there. There's another of our 27s, the 727, as you said, Hadley Boyce.
Yeah, 81 to the top of the time. New quick time. 12.482 goes 16 thousandths to the top of the field. Brady Baldwin manages to slide one in. 12.539 sits third at the moment. 2 minutes through the 4-minute session. So everyone that has not set a lap will be out there and amongst it, trying to bring themselves up to the track. And we'll see if anyone can match the 12.482 so far from Cole Ferguson. The 13 machine getting in and amongst it at the moment for Cameron De Bruyne. High side through 1 and 2. That was a lot of steering angle. Big moment there for De Bruyne. So this may not necessarily be his quick lap. This might be, no, in actual fact, it is going to be his quick lap. It was his second lap. Didn't go the way of Cameron De Bruyne. By the way, we also have a margin in the field separated by 1/1000th of a second. Darcy Wilson and Bradley Oldfield. 12.557 plays a 12.558 in the middle of that one. Matthew Stables throws down a reasonable lap. He jumped all the way up to P3. Clayton Davies, championship leader, to the top of the time sheets. 12.468, new quick time. And can anyone match him? Ethan Winter throws the gauntlet down. Did it in practice, misses out 6 thousandths of a second. And we have 30 seconds left on the clock. One driver out on track at the moment. We are running out of time. Oscar Amez, what can he show us? First time of asking, 12.597 for the driver of the 099. Lap number 2, bring it back to the stripe, 12.733. So here's quick time on lap number 1. That will be it. That's the field qualified. We're out of time. quick time for your Australian Speedway results. Qualifying from the Eldora Royale. Clayton Davies sticks it on pole with a 12.468. Ethan Winter, 6,000ths of a second from the top step. Cole Ferguson, Nathan Vanderwacker, Joel Berkeley, Matthew Stables, Brady Baldwin, Harry Stewart, Darcy Wilson, Bradley Oldfield. Going to round out your 10 and have a look at the margins deeper in that field. And remember, we said Stables and Baldwin, 1/1000th of a second between those drivers as well. Darcy Walker outside the 10. Oscar Amers, Craig Dunn. Brenton Thompson slides into 14th spot. Paul Bryan a little bit further back for him. Zach Rattray White inside of the top 20. Blake Walsh, Hadley Boyce. Cameron De Bruin, mentioned, didn't quite line his lap up inside the 20. And here comes the Chaos Wheel. We're going to invert the top 3, the top 4, or the top 5 for all of the heats. Here it comes.
I'm excited. This is something really different.
Haven't done this before.
Get the green one. The green one. Invert 4.
It is going to be the invert top 4. So front 2 rows are going to swap their positions around. 4th place will become 1st. The only problem with that, Jay, as well, is that also means they've all got to swap which side of the track they're on as well.
Yeah, that's a bit frustrating for everyone, but I'm sure they're professional enough to work it out. I mean, we've seen drivers change lanes within the night as it's gone on when we've gone to the start and restarts and things like that. So I'm sure they'll work it out very, very quickly. So it'll be Craig Dunn starting from P1 with Darcy Wilson alongside him, then Berkeley and Davies, Walsh and Mead. In the top 6, we go back to Smith, Mitchell, Boyd and Nick Ryan. Rounding out the 10 we will have for the first heat of the night.
That's it. Heats tonight, proudly brought to you by McSlide Race on behalf of Richie McLeod. It is the McSlide Race heats to set ourselves through the alphabet on our way to your wide open clothing A main. Don't forget tonight, also the Hard Charger Award, worthwhile keeping an eye on in the back end of the night. Mono Creative, brought to us by Ryan Harris. Done a lot of work to help design the event logos and the logos for the Oceanic Dirt Sim events as well. So big shout out to Ryan, who's assisted with some work behind the scenes on the league and bringing us some support on the Hard Charger Award here tonight as well. First heat of the night. We'll sit, we'll watch, we'll wait. The good news, though, is if you are a Craig Dunn fan, he's going to be leading us to green. Darcy Wilson will invert to his outside. Joel Berkeley will be on the inside of row 2. Clayton Davies will be on the outside of row 2. That will be the invert. So the problem we've got here is Davies will move his way forward and to the outside probably, and let the rest of the boys come on through. But I do love me some Eldora. Yeah, here we go. So here comes the invert for these guys. First heat of the night, 10 laps, no cautions.
It's going to be interesting to see how these guys that did put in the fastest laps in the qualifying session in the quick time, how they go getting their way back through the field when the track hasn't really evolved too much. It's a lot more difficult to make those overtakes in some ways, but in others, if you're a good enough driver, you can make them easily on any track. So it's going to be a very, very interesting dynamic. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
There. So just talking about start zones here tonight as well in the background. End of the Eldora riding on the entry to turn 3 to the end of the Eldora riding on the wall. So effectively, at each of the corners on the track, there is 3 logos of Eldora, 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 side by side. Once you pass the end of the first set of logos, that you are inside the restart zone. Once you pass the end of the signage at the exit of turn 4, that is the end of the restart zone. So here we go, first heat of the night. They're in the zone now, and we're waiting on Craig Dunn to get us to green. And there he goes, he sets us off. Here we go. For the first time tonight, 10 laps of the heat. Dunn is going to slide it up, take the lead away. Darcy Wilson, a lot of attitude in that car as he tries to get it back underneath him. What is Clayton Davies going to do? He's trying to get the car to the inside, moves into second, so he's already trying to take that one away right down on the low line. He'll sling it across to the top, makes contact with the 5, also contact in behind. Lachlan Mead, and I think another car
Joel
got
Berkeley.
into it as well. Joel Berkeley's up and over. So we've lost a few of them. I think Clayton Davies made the contact that initiated all that, but there was 2 incidents all at the same time.
Yep, and that's meant that Nick Ryan and Etten Smith are now banging wheels. I didn't really have to do that because now that's opened up Daniel Boyd from 5th position. He's got a chance to transfer through into the A from the top 4 positions here now.
Here we go. They're all going to sit down and try and have a crack at throwing at each other. 4 laps in the book. They'll start lap number 5, and here comes Daniel Boyd. He's going to feed into the left front tyre of the 64 of Etten Smith. So Boyd and Smith have now made contact. Heat number 1 has been blows traded left, right, and centre. Boyd's going to rip the top step. He does manage to find some speed up there. Here comes the slider. It's an aggressive slider, and to be fair, Ayrton Smith got fed a right rear before, and that's his way of repaying the favour. Yeah,
nice move in the end there to get that done, but it's still a little bit messy, isn't it? They're not quite as settled as you'd expect them to be, but here we go. What will happen here? Still 3 laps to go. Boyd has the advantage for now, but Smith looks like he's got the pace to potentially come back.
Yeah, Boyd's going to slide up and take it away from Etten Smith at the moment. In the meantime, Craig Dunn still looking in control, has a second worth of lead with a couple laps left to run out in front, so he has got control of the heats. Etten Smith trying to build some run. Moving around the track is the big thing from Daniel Boyd. They're going to come back, grab the white flag this next time by. Craig Dunn gets a little bit lucky. He gets the invert to put him on pole position, but from there he's led every lap of the heat. He'll slam the door closed. He'll take it down off of 4. He'll take the heat victory. Has Smith got anything for Boyd? No, he does not as the heat runs out. Top 4 to transfer. Craig Dunn from Blake Walsh. Oh, boy.
Little bit of heat there.
Walsh, Nick Ryan and Daniel Boyd. And there was a lot in that, and I can understand the frustration, but it didn't need to come to that.
No, it didn't, but we like seeing the guys out there be aggressive and, leave it on the track rather than take it off the track and get a bit aggressive after. So Dunn, Walsh, Ryan and Boyd go through, but big talking point. Smith just misses out. Lachlan Mead misses out. Darcy Wilson misses out. But Thomas Mitchell, Joel Berkeley and Clayton Davies, who was given a black flag for that incident, he'll get a rear of grid in the C main. He's got it all to do from the championship lead to being the last runner in the C main coming up.
And just think, only, about 10 minutes ago we were just saying, think about how last time out things were a little bit difficult to get through. That's a big one. Ethan Winter will be looking to put some points away here tonight. He will qualify into this heat in the pole position. Matthew Stables, Bradley Oldfield, Brenton Hobson. They will invert. Hadley Boyce and Matthew Gowans off of the 3rd row. 7th and 8th is going to be that of Nathan Norman and John Schultz. Aston Hurley is going to bring the heat to a close.
And the drivers are now getting ready to roll off. Hoping that I can get these championship points working. I'm trying to get them fixed in the background, but they're not working 100% how they're supposed to. So apologies if I'm a little bit more quiet than I would like to be.
Is it all the dirt that's perhaps gotten into your PC since you've entered the server tonight?
No, it could be something like that. It's probably the rocks in my head that probably are more of a factor.
Try feeding it a right rear. I hear that fixes things.
It fixes everything, doesn't it? We've seen that.
Righto. Second of the heats of tonight's racing action to come your way. 4 heats here tonight. 4 to transfer from each of the heats. Heat number 2 going to come to you in just a few moments. Ethan Winter with it all to do, and the Chaos Wheel sends him from pole to 4th. Brenton Hobson is going to be the driver on the inside of our front row. He'll lead us to green. Oldfield to his outside. Matthew Stables behind, and Ethan Winter on the outside, that row number 2. Here we go. Didn't wait long to get it back under green flag racing, and Hobson will try and take it away from the bottom. Slides up, can't quite clear. Bradley Oldfield, they're going to try and slide all around. Ethan Winter's looking for the middle. He sent it 3 wide through 1 and 2. He grabbed that spot away from Matthew Stables. Now he's trying to take it away from Brent Hobson as well. Can't quite get there. Runs the middle of the track as he tries to find some momentum. The 885 machine in the background trying to find the slot to feed into. And at the moment, they're still 2 and 3 wide back up the point as Matthew Gowans has caught up and challenges for one of those transfer spots as well.
It's very, very racy back in the field behind these guys too, because you've got Gowan, Schultz and Boyce. They're all separated by just a tenth or so. So anything could happen in this heat as Hobson makes a big error. He loses one position. Could he lose another? As in comes Matthew Gowans in that blue car on the outside. He's going to get the move done on Stables, but is he going to be able to get this position? Hobson didn't quite get that slider to work, but here comes Gowans.
And it was Hobson trying to throw the slide jobs. It was Ethan Winter initiated that chain of slide jobs into slide job, into slide job. Down to the bottom of the racetrack now. Matthew Stables is going to try and find the spot. Can't quite get clear to slot his way back in, but he is now running the bottom of the racetrack. Gowans is going to try and find some speed. And the problem being, you got to rip the top step at the moment because the momentum's coming from the high side. John Schultz is trying to slot his way in, and Stables cuts the momentum off. He had to slam that door closed. Gowans just about got the fences. He's trying to harass the back of the 88 machine. Can't quite steal it away at the moment as Gowans just about feeds the right rear of the fence. We'll keep our eyes on these guys. They'll bump in the straightaway as well. Here comes Gowans. Slide job, bottom to top as Hobson got the momentum. Can't quite get it done. Now he's forced to reply with a slide job of his own.
And Stables isn't far away from being able to potentially do a slider as well. So these guys have got to be careful that they don't cost themselves too much time in this back and forth. 1 lap to go. They may be able to hold on, but any minor contact will cost either of them an A-main.
And to the bottom of the racetrack to defend it off. Final time. Back to the flag. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Gowans who gets it done over Hobson. Heat goes to Bradley Oldfield. Ethan Winter takes P2. Clean sliders the length of that heat. That was the racing action we were expecting here tonight. Matthew Gowans and Brenton Hobson are your 4 to transfer. Stables, John Schultz, Hadley Boyce, Nathan Norman and Aston Hurley are your 9 from the McSlide race heat 2. Heat number 3, Cole Ferguson gets the pole position. Brady Baldwin, Darcy Walker, and Paul Bryan, your 4 to invert. Cameron De Bruyne off row number 5 in the 13 machine. Bailey Leeson will be to his outside. Excuse me, Jaden Russell and Daniel Grimshaw. Luke Patton are going to round out the 9 for heat number 3.
And they're already ready to go, so we're not far away from getting green flag action. Ferguson and Baldwin, as we know, they'll drop back. And Paul Bryan's got the advantage now of potentially stealing a race win, but Jaden Russell's the outlier for me in this one. Starting in 7th, of course, race winner in this series before, so he'll be wanting to make sure he at least gets into that top 4, but it's going to be more difficult than normal because the guys in that 3rd and 4th position are going to be the guys that would normally be on the front row.
And the reason for that for Jaden Russell, 12.758 through qualifying, lap number 1, time was invalidated, which probably would have been his quick time as well. So he had to rely on the 2nd lap without the momentum, and that's what's caused him to be a little bit deeper in the field. Here comes the invert. Righto, slotted back in, and so far we've learned, Jay, that the fast way around the speedways at the top. So, nearly being on pole position, even though it puts you on the 2nd row, actually puts you in the preferred groove.
Yeah, you want to be in those normally what would be even odd starting positions because it gives you that even advantage. So yeah, it's surprising that that is the way that it's gone so far, but we've seen in this series before how quickly the track will change, and we know that it will change. So anything could and still will happen in this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the track evolves throughout the next 10-15 minutes, because it will be different. By the time we start the C main, it's going to be a completely different racetrack.
It already is starting to wear out. We're into the restart zone down in 3 and 4. Holds them, fires it off. Here we go. Green flag racing. Jaden Russell in contact with Cameron De Bruyne at the rear. And around they go. Damage to both of those cars as they got underway. Now who's going to be able to control the early phases of the race? Darcy Walker's got Cole Ferguson trying to take it the inside away from him. Here comes the reply slide job. And it's going to be Bailey Leeson who takes them all away. Here it goes. Paul Bryan's got the lead. Brady Baldwin's going to go with him. It's then Leeson, Walker and Ferguson in the 3 slow slide jobs here at each other.
You can see as well, black flag for Jaden Russell. This is the contact which has cost him. And he just tried to get a little bit of an advantage and there was no real opportunity there. He's going to have to start from the back of the C as well. Big names at the back of the C main when we get into it in a few moments' time.
Have a look at the big old bump that's forming off the exit of 2 now as well as the track starts to get worn out. There was a big bump in the middle of 3 and 4 that time by as well. Darcy Walker just found the fence as he entered turn 1 and 2. Tries to get at the bottom side of Bailey Leeson. So now the cars have got to handle the bumps as well at Eldora. But for the meantime, Bryan's got control. Baldwin looks quite comfortable in second. The top of the track starting to get worn out, as is that middle of the track as well. Here comes Cole Ferguson, who's starting to show a little bit of momentum in the middle groove of the racetrack, trying to get away from the bumps as the slick starts to form. Now it's a challenge. And here comes the most difficult part of the night, getting through the heats in the middle of the toughest racetrack to drive.
Maybe it's time for Cole Ferguson back in 5th position. Try the inside through 1 and 2 because that bump is really unsettling the guys. They're having to get out of the throttle a slight little bit to make sure they can maintain their momentum. So it's getting very, very difficult at the exit of 2. But only 1 lap to go. He needs to try something. He's not quite close enough at the moment. Speaking of trying something, Darcy Walker's trying something. Not quite close enough. White flag in the air. And I'll tell you what, Cole Ferguson may be close enough to try something at 3 and 4.
And I was just thinking the same thing. As this cost Darcy Walker, Ferguson's going to come down from the top and run the bottom. He will make contact. There's nearly a dead heat for P3. As they cross the finish line, Ferguson had to try something. The opportunity only came about because of Darcy Walker trying something to try and steal the spot away. Nothing in it.
Right.
In terms of things. That was 11 thousandths of a second for P3. That was brilliant. Sorry, 10 thousandths of a second. Or 100th of a second for you guys watching along at home. Bryan, Baldwin, Walker, and Leeson, new transfers. Cole Ferguson, Grimshaw, Luke Patton, Jaden Russell, and Cameron De Bruyne. Remember, penalty to Jaden Russell as well. We'll start from the rear of the heats. Those were your 9 drivers from Heat 3. Final heat of the night. And last opportunity to thank Slide Race for the heats here tonight. Nathan van der Wacker on pole here for the heat. From there, we're going to throw it back to Harry Stewart, Oscar Amez, Zach Rattray White, Colin Bokus, Bentley Summers, your top 6. Paul Ward and Kobe Noonan are going to be 7th and 8th, and rounding out the 9 for the heat, Gary Redcliffe. And they're already rolling, by the way, Jay. They didn't wait for us, Adam.
That was very quick for them to roll off. I'm okay with it, though. I'm okay with them rolling it off quick. It's a pretty pleasant change. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Very excited because I thought I'd fixed our points situation, but I hadn't. So, I'm close. I haven't quite fixed it yet, but I'm very close.
Righto, field getting ready for a start here. Invert is going to see Rattray White on inside of the front row. Excuse me, Oscar Amez will be to his outside. Harry Stewart will be inside of row 2, and Nathan van der Wacker will be alongside here, top 4. Keep the eyes on the 88 machine of van der Wacker on row number 2. He stays high, looking for the drive, and I tell you what, Amez nearly got cut off down at the bottom of the racetrack, nearly finds the fence as well, and these guys haven't seen the bumps, so this is their first time to go for a rough ride. How about Colin Bokus? Manages to slide in and grab 4th spot. Van der Wacker's on the back foot.
Well, Van der Wacker's dropped a little bit of ground and he's struggling to find his rhythm at the moment. And Scramers, he was very, very lucky to not put it straight into the fence at the start. He just got all sorts of wheel spin. I'll tell you what, oh, Stewart, you don't mind. There was no gap there.
Slide job got majorly thrown from Zach Rattray White. And Harry Stewart's going to reply in kind. He'll start to steal the lead off, covers the middle to bottom runners. They head down into 1 and 2. Now they're starting to move around the racetrack, and Oscar Amos finds something. He's all out of shape over the bumps. Van der Wacker comes on through. He's going to pick up 4th spot now. Can he stick it to the inside? Van der Wacker can't quite find the space to get the job done, but Bokus has managed to take away that 3rd spot, and those bumps, they are huge. They're mountains at the moment, and they're causing a mountain of problems for the drivers.
There's one through the middle of turn 3 and 4 as well that's starting to unsettle the drivers right up against the wall as well. So it's getting really, really interesting. You see how unsettled the car is, and look, everyone's not going right up against the wall through the middle of 3 and 4. They're waiting until a little bit later in the corner to get that outside run happening now. Ames is trying to go against the inside wall, but not quite there. Watch this bump right here. Ames, bang, unsettles the car. But right behind, Van der Wacker has got his car looking much, much more settled at the moment.
Yeah, the problem is time's starting to run out. 3 laps left to run. Van der Wacker's got to try and do something to find that transfer spot. And the big old bump at 4 bites once more. Ames loses a little bit of momentum, goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Rattray White's got a slider that's just been thrown on him by Bokus. Bokus can't quite hang on to it. Rattray White's bottom to top when they get down to 3 and 4. Here comes the white flag. Ames is throwing everything he possibly can. It could all change in the final lap for the transfers here right now. Bokus is in trouble on the top step. Ames has got no momentum. Van der Wacker loses it all as he tries to get it. No! The back of Ames! Neither of them are going to have the job done, and I think Ames might have ran out of fuel.
I think he has.
He might have lost drive.
Well, Van der Wacker's actually finished ahead of him. Van der Wacker has crossed the line ahead of Ames by 12 1/1000ths of a second. So race control...
I reckon Ames ran out of fuel.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure that's what it was.
And Van der Wacker, I mean, if he has run out of fuel, I'm okay with the contact then.
100% agree.
So Harry Stewart will transfer, as will Rattray White, Colin Bokus, and in discussion is 4th spot from that heat, but there was not enough time to apply the penalty. So Van der Wacker will transfer regardless because there's no way to prevent him from transferring.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just unlucky for Ames, but in saying that, as you said as well, if he has run out of fuel, probably play on for that penalty.
Yeah, race control, I'm sure, will have a look. Righto, here comes your Apex Civil Solutions Queensland C-Main as we get set for 12 laps here. 4 will transfer to the B-Main, and we will have 8 transfer out of the B-Main to our A-Main here tonight. Thomas Mitchell from Nathan Norman, Jaden Russell, Bentley Summers, Joel Berkeley, and Aston Hurley, your top 6. Then we'll throw it over the page to Cameron De Bruin, Gary Redcliffe, Clayton Davies with some work to do from the rear of the C-Main.
Don't forget as well that Davies and also Jaden Russell will start rear of grid due to penalties in that race. And Nathan Norman still in the pits. Something is not right with his car.
I think he's missed the grid.
I think you're right. He might have to start from the pit lane.
No, he's done. Nathan Norman has ejected from the server, so he is done for the day.
I wonder if he's had a technical issue and decided that he didn't want to risk being out on track with everyone, which can happen.
Well, curious.
Me too.
We've had some wacky races the last couple times out for Oceanic Dirt Sim events. Why would Eldora be any different? That first heat was wild, and then it settled down very quickly, even though the bumps picked up. I cannot believe how aggressive that first heat was and then how tame everything else has been.
You say tame, but I suppose it's tame in comparison. It still hasn't been that tame. It's just been less aggressive than the rest.
Here it comes, the Apex Civil Solutions C-Main, and Thomas Mitchell controls us into the restart zone. He's going to take the early leading. Joel Berkeley got a little bit of a slide on. He's going to be looking for some drive down on the bottom, but at least manages to slot back in. 3rd is good enough to advance his night. Will he seek to stay in 3rd, or will he start to get aggressive? And what of Clayton Davies? He's already up to 6th spot. Huge run down the back straight and across the bumps as well. The racetrack's starting to wear, and how are the drivers going to tackle it?
Remember, these guys just want to get in the top 4. They don't really need to fight too hard. They don't want to get out of that top 4. All they have to do is get in there, remembering now that there will be 8 transfer from the B main, so there's a bigger opportunity to transfer through in the next one. But I tell you what, Bentley Summers doesn't care. He's trying to get that position straight away, and a nice little move there. And the inside is starting to come into its own.
Yeah, it slides from bottom to top, takes it away. He's now going to lead the race as Thomas Mitchell will slot back in a second. Joel Berkeley is trying everything he can to take second away, and bouncing off the wall down the back straight away is Thomas Mitchell. Here comes Berkeley. He'll take the line away, but elects to stay in that middle groove. He's going to hang on to that one. Here comes Thomas Mitchell, and Clayton Davies is now here as well. He's just off the back end of these guys. One more spot, and he will transfer. He's going to move to the higher side to try and find some momentum. Mitchell is all of a sudden lacking some speed.
Been a fantastic battle within this race. Thomas Mitchell, Clayton Davies fighting for that final spot. It's going to be a very, very entertaining end of the night. Who's going to get through? Who's going to end the night now? Clayton Davies can make it back through after having a penalty and being right at the back of the field while leading the championship. That's going to be incredible for him. It will hurt his championship if he can't get through, but at the moment it's looking good to at least get into the B main.
And Jaden Russell's managed to slide away and take that spot from Thomas Mitchell as well. Mitchell decided he wanted to fight for the transfer spot. He's lost all the momentum, and that might be just enough to seal it. Bentley Summers is absolutely ripping the fence now with the race lead. 2 more laps left to run for the Apex Civil Solutions Queensland C Main. Running out of time for anyone to do anything about it. White flags in the air. Final 800 metres of the C Main. Berkeley and Hurley are going to go at it to see who can claim the transfer. Jaden Russell done for the day as well. Won't see the end of the C Main, but it's going to be Summers who takes your C Main. Berkeley's got it done from Aston Hurley, and Clayton Davies will transfer out of the C Main is the big story from that one.
Yeah, I'm guessing that we may have seen another driver about to run out of fuel. So, yeah, I think that's what's happened there. Jaden Russell's about to run out of fuel and decided, well, we might not worry about finishing the race. Unfortunate for him, he finishes in 8th. But Summers, Berkeley, Hurley and Davies get on to the next one. Mitchell, Redcliffe, De Bruin, Russell and Norman, they finish their night.
Yeah, and it might be time for drivers to take just a little bit of a look and a drink on their fuel tank. Time for the Sim Rack Market B Main, and with a word from our Sim Rack Market sponsor. Righto, on behalf of SimRap Market, time to get into our B Main. Ayrton Smith from Matthew Stables, Cole Ferguson, Oscar Amez, your top 4, Lachlan Mead and John Schultz round out the 6. From there on back, Daniel Grimshaw, Kobe Noonan, Darcy Wilson, Hadley Boyce, Luke Patton and Paul Ward are going to be your top 12. 13 is going to be that of Bentley Summers, Joel Berkeley, Aston Hurley and Clayton Davies to come from 16. 15 laps, 8 to transfer out of the B Main on behalf of SimRap Market. Here we go from Eldora. 4 10s. And here comes the speed. Big slide in turn 1. Aston Hurley's lost a ton of momentum. He's going to go tumbling towards the back end of the field. Davies trying to cut his way through. But I tell you what, it's chaotic up at the front, but good luck trying to find a groove to run through at the back. Dust is starting to fly as well. Track has started to dry back on out. They might want to turn the sprinklers on when the B main's said and done. Hadley Boyce at the moment sits about 10th spot. Remember, they're fighting over about 8th, and that is where all the battling's going on. Berkeley leans on him as well, just tags him in the left rear corner. So Berkeley's going to lose a touch of momentum. Davies is really struggling to cut his way through. Finally manages to get his way up in a 12th spot. Now he's got to find some momentum. They're all sliding and not crossing each other. Bentley Summers, remember, ran so well just before the C main. Who can do anything about the man trying to make his way into the A?
Yeah, this final spot, transfer spot, is getting incredibly heated. Kobe Noonan has it for the moment, but it's going to chop and change so fast. And at the moment now it's Darcy Wilson, but right on cue, Kobe Noonan takes it back, but it won't be for long.
And it's just about every end of the racetrack. They are three wide. The three slides it up. Bentley Summers off the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Kobe Noonan trying to slide him away. He's trying to take another spot away. Clayton Davies going to try and cross over and slide. A bunch of drivers will finally slide his way to 9th spot as well. So he is finally starting to take some of these slots away. And have a look at the contact now. This is for the transfer spot. Into the outside barrier. Clayton Davies goes for a hole. The hole closes as he gets there. Drops a ton of momentum. Finally manages to find his way. He's into the transfer. Can he make it stick? John Schultz is going to send a slider from the bottom rope. No, holds it to the middle. At the moment, Bentley Summers is 7th. Davies is in a transfer.
And here comes Joel Berkeley as well. He's back in 10th at the moment, but he's not far away. He's right there with these guys in the middle of the group now. Up into 9th. And he's, contact between Summers and Davies as well. And here comes Berkeley. He's going to steal a spot.
Found the momentum, saw the mistake from the two drivers up ahead of him, took the momentum and made it stick. Now he slides his way into the transfer. Bentley's going to have to do something about it. Goes to the bottom, does the 3 wide through the middle of 1 and 2. The 17 hangs on to it from the top step, but massive slide job from Bentley Summers, makes it stick, takes the spot away. Berkeley's going to try and do something about it, does manage to hang on to it. Back to the bottom rope. There's going to be 2.5 more laps to run, so time's starting to run out. Berkeley might have done enough because Summers has got no momentum. He's got 2 laps to find it and get there and get the job done.
Yeah, Berkeley's starting to pull right away, isn't he? But I'll tell you what, it's not over. He needs to keep fighting and make sure he maintains that 9th position, because these guys just ahead here, this is Dan Grimshaw and Lachlan Mead. They have bumped tyres numerous times in the last couple of laps as well, so it's not over. And right on cue, Mead into the wall.
Ferguson's going to lead us back. He picks up the B main win. Slide job at the last time of asking for Bentley Summers. The transfer spot, nothing in it. Who managed to nick it at the line? It's Berkeley by 0.05 of a second. Nothing in that one.
What a race. Absolutely fantastic race, that one. Get your breath. We need it, because if that's what we've seen so far, what is the A main going to bring us in a little while? That was absolutely fantastic. And I tell you what, I'm almost glad that was the top 8 that progressed, because I don't think the battle for 4th would have been able to be contained if all of those drivers were in amongst it.
We would have had 10 drivers fighting for 4th spot. That would have been the most interesting one of the night. Ferguson, Smith, Stables and Amers normally would have been the only drivers to transfer, but a few shy on the numbers tonight. Drop to heat means an additional 4 will transfer. Lachlan Mead, Daniel Grimshaw, Clayton Davies and Joel Berkeley ride their luck to transfer by 0.05 of a second. Drivers done for the day. 9th on back. Hadley Boyce is at 11th. John Schultz, Paul Ward, Kobe Noonan, Luke Patton and Aston Hurley retired very early on, those last 2. And that is it for them. But I will say to them, thank you very much, because that was a banger of a B main. I reckon that's probably up there for B main of the year.
Yeah, one, if not one of the races of the year, full stop. Not just B or main or whatever. That's been one of the most brilliant races we've seen in this championship for 2025 so far, and we've had some absolute bangers the whole way through. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the A works out. Now, we were hoping to have live points coming up on screen and showing exactly where everyone sits, but for some reason, the points aren't calculating the heats correctly. So Brady's had to get the calculator out and manually work everything out, and now he's wishing that we had the spinny wheel.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if Brady's on the calculator, we'll see you in about 3 months when the points finally get calculated.
Oh, I'm just going to give him 3 hours, but 3 months if you like. I'm going to keep trying to fix the issue that I'm having, because I'm hoping that I can at least beat him with getting the live points up to date before he does. But yeah, it's a bit frustrating that a system that has worked flawlessly for us with live points throughout the season is not calculating the live points correctly anymore. So yeah, a bit unfortunate.
It is what it is, unfortunately for now. But for the fans watching along at home, how are you enjoying the racing action from the 804 metres of Eldora Speedway? Big shout out once more. We've got an opportunity, so we may as well take it. Thank you to everyone who has supported tonight's racing action, because it means that we can offer some extra prizes and some extra changes to the format on behalf of Australian Speedway Results. Tonight's qualifying sponsor, congratulations to them for joining in. It's always good to bring them the quick time. We had 4 heats tonight, not the 5. So McSlider Race and Richie McLeod were your heat sponsors. The C main was the tamest of the mains thus far, and the A main is going to have to struggle to live up to that B main, but that was proudly brought to you by Apex Civil Solutions Queensland. Your B main tonight and Sim Rap Market got all their money's worth in what is race of the year thus far. And tonight's A main, brought to us in a few moments' time, proudly brought to you by Wide Open Clothing. Haven't unfortunately had the time really to jump back through a lot of replays tonight. Proudly brought to us by Sud Speed. If you're looking for some similar racing gloves, get into Sud Speed. And the Hard Charger Reward as well on behalf of Ryan Harris and the team at Mono Creative. If you're looking for your logos, the Hard Charger Award proudly brought to you by somebody in the know in terms of graphic design. Go and see Mono Creative and Ryan Harris and the team.
Good news. I think we've got live points correct. So if Brady's listening, if you can just check the message I've just sent and confirm that those points are correct. If they are, I can bring them up on screen and we can show who is going to start on pole. I don't think it's going to be too much of a surprise who is starting on pole, because it will be the driver that has finished the best combined over the heats and in qualifying. So if my points are correct, it will be Ethan Winter from Harry Stewart. But I'm just waiting for Brady to confirm. I'm sure someone will be in his ear saying, "Hey Brady, hope you're listening." Let's see if I can actually PM him, because I am also an admin in the session. So let's see if I can get a reply from him.
By the way, the reason that we wanted to run through and thank those sponsors one additional time, additional prizes on offer for the drivers here tonight on the DM Cinematography Eldora Royale. $150 cash prize to first place, $75 for second, and rounding up the podium, $40 to third place. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to bring all of that to the drivers, but the reason that we thank the sponsors is that it's not, it's not without their support that we're able to actually offer that as a prize. And to all the fans that are watching on at home, we do hope you'll jump in and support the sponsors to bring everything to us, because they also help us go broadcasting as well as help keep the lights on for the league. So big shout out to the sponsors.
And the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes of this league alone is huge, and to think that every league has someone that puts in way more work than they really should. And this league is no different, because I know how much Brady has put into this league. And speaking of, Brady has just got a reply, and my points look exactly the same as his. So he's got one person different. That is because they are tied on points. So I am going to put my graphic up on screen, because it's as close as we're going to get. This is the grid.
Righto, the grid heading into our Wide Open Clothing A main. Ethan Winter is going to be on pole position. Harry Stewart will be lining up alongside of him. The man whose calculator is going nuts on third, although it's a dead heat with Bradley Oldfield for 230 points. And I just heard confirmed Brady Baldwin will be starting off a P3 for that one. Craig Dunn will be fifth. Paul Bryan, Nathan Van Der Wacker, 1 point in between those ones. Zach Rattray White tweeting. There is a 217 tie as well. Darcy Walker will be out of ninth spot there. Blake Walsh will be running up the top 10. Outside of the 10, there's going to be Brenton Hobson from Colin Bocas, Matthew Gowans, Bailey Leeson, Nick Ryan, Daniel Boyd. Clayton Davies is going to be out of 17th.
From 17th back, it will be where they finished in the B main. So while they got championship points, and just for those that are wanting to understand how the point system works, there's 100 points for P1 in qualifying, 96 for second, down to, and then 2-point gap back to 10th position got 80, and then 1 point from there further back. Then top 4 positions in the heats also receive points, 150 for first, 144 for second, 138, 132 were the breakdowns of those points. If you finish 5th, well then you're in the C and B main, so it didn't really matter.
So that's the drivers are transferring through out of there. So that puts a little bit more on that. I've just seen Bentley Summers drop out of the server because unfortunately he was in the 9th spot at the end of the heat. But how good was his run in the C main though? So you got to feel for the guy. A little frustrating, unfortunately, for him not to transfer out of the wildest race of the night. But he ran I'm very, very impressed with the job that he put on in that C main.
I agree. He was absolutely brilliant and thoroughly deserved his great result. And we're looking forward to seeing how he goes with this race here. You can also tell the track has not been reset. So we were hearing that the warm-up server that we had before the night started, the practice server, the drivers had basically got it down to nothing. It was the concrete underneath the clay that they were driving on. So the good thing about that, if it does happen again, is that the track becomes very, very evenly matched between all of the lines. So if we see something like that by the race's end, it is going to be absolutely brilliant.
Well, 40 laps to decide if we can do that. We're going to get an extra lap with the gridding as well here tonight, and the reason for that is the points and needing to shuffle the order. So they've all heard where they're due to grid, and we do thank the drivers as well. One of the things is when you have a manual grid set like this, it does actually take a lot of work from all the drivers to make sure that this runs smoothly. It takes a lot of work from the admins to put it in place as well. So from everyone that is involved and does make what we have a brilliant show, all involved deserve a big old thank you.
100%. One of our favourite series to broadcast here on iRacing is this ODSE series, and not only is it the biggest dirt series in Australia, it's one of the biggest dirt series in the world. So the fact that we have this series and have it as successful as we do is absolutely incredible, and a credit to the admins, the drivers, the series organisers, the race control guys, and everyone involved make this series absolutely brilliant and A-class. So looking forward to seeing how it goes tonight.
I've had the opportunity to actually chat to a lot of drivers just through my own iRacing endeavours over the years, and just bumped into a whole bunch of people. Paul Bryan actually was coaching me for a fair while at one point. He was really, really lovely to work with. I know Bradley Oldfield, Harry Stewart, Clayton Davies had a lot of runs with those guys. They're always good to chat to and hang out with. So the biggest part about the sim racing in general is obviously the community, but our dirt sim racers are also absolute gents that are willing to have a chat as well. So, righto. Moments away from going green in the A main, proudly brought to you by Wide Open Clothing. And They're going to be underway in just a few moments. In actual fact, you can barely see the Eldora signs on the wall anymore, such as the dirt that's been put up and against the fence. Launches, here comes the run. And it's going to be Ethan Winter that leads us to green. Needs some points. Can he find some speed to finally put a nice clean run in? This is an opportunity when Clayton Davies is going to come from the rear of the field to bank a whole bunch of points and see if he can't claw back what he lost over the last couple of rounds.
Relatively clean start the whole way through the field as well, especially considering how bumpy and slick this track is. I'm very, very impressed. This Colin Bocus has just lost a couple of positions as well, but for the most part, this field has been relatively clean. It's great to see how clean these guys have been so far. Hopefully I haven't ruined that.
What have you done to us, Jay? Bradley Oldfield's going to send a little bit of a slider on Harry Stewart as he tries to take that one away. Paul Bryan makes the momentum, has to lift off because he can't take that anywhere. There was nowhere to take the run. Did manage to steal 4th spot away. Craig Dunn trying to find some speed on the bottom of the battle for 4th spot at this point in time, but that outside lane is just getting banked up. They're all up there. Here comes first caution of the night.
Clayton Davies.
Oh,
Brown.
Unfortunately for the driver of the 50, but early enough in the feature, he will get a backup car and get back out there.
Yep, first 10 laps. Use his spare car, so positive for him, but yeah, unfortunate that he's had to use it. If you're going to have an issue, you want to have it within those first 10 laps.
And we're waiting for the pace car to catch as well. This is the sort of speed replay of, yeah, there was just everyone ping-ponging off each other, unfortunately.
It's messy, wasn't it?
A bunch of drivers fighting for the same bit of real estate and all those bumps in the outside lane. Here comes the iRacing pace car.
Just trying to think of what Clayton Davies could have done differently there, because there's actually a little bit of contact between Hobson and the 64 of Ayrton Smith. So watch the Hobson in the blue. He just makes a tiny little bit of contact just there. Unsettles Smith, which then causes the check-up. By the time he reacts, he's already been run over by the car behind him, so I don't think Davies could have really done anything. I could be completely wrong in seeing that, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. He's just wrong place, wrong time. Unfortunately for your championship leader, backup car used to the rear of the field. So still alive in the feature here tonight. Back to green flag racing from the point. And once again, Ethan Winter in control of the field. Harry Stewart will try and slot back in. What's Bradley Oldfield and Paul Bryan got to show? And Brady Baldwin, the first driver to take a crack at the bottom of 1 and 2. Zach Rattray White's going to follow him down there through 3 and 4, but it looks like the speed is on the top step.
Yeah, for now the top looks like it is the go, but it's going to change very, very quickly. As you can see in the middle there, Zach Rattray White just hit that bump, got a little unsettled, and he's starting to struggle back in the field a little bit too. Look at these guys here, there's just nowhere to go. You just can't see because of the dust, and then there's nowhere to go because there's a car where you want to put yours.
Yeah, and the biggest thing as well, let's talk to the fans about the times changing across the night. We were down in the mid-12s to start the night off. We've fallen off about 2 seconds to where they run mid-14s right about now. Mid to low 14s is where we are. Have a look at the drivers looking to try and find some room and some real estate on the bottom end of the track. The 51 machine. This is Brady Baldwin now, who's on the top. And Blake Walsh threw a slide driver and chopped that momentum off for him. Unfortunately, Baldwin's starting to fall back throughout the field. Remember, started at a 3rd spot, now back to 8th. Van der Wacker's actually on the improve as well. Just keeping an eye on him. He's doing a reasonable job for the night in 5th spot.
Van der Wacker's done really well, hasn't he? He made his way forward from where he started. He's just clipped the wall there, and Blake Walsh is going to throw a big slider. There he goes.
Takes that one away. Can Van der Wacker take the momentum and do something with it? No, he can't. That momentum lost from the wall ride. Clayton Davies, by the way, deeper in the field, probably worthwhile having another check-in with him because it is a parking, well, sorry, no, it's peak hour traffic, not a parking lot for 12th spot at this point in time. Because where do you go? Slides down and underneath. Zach Rattray White is going to rip the top on his outside. And again, it's just finding the momentum. Caution, second of the night. Out, and we're beyond the fast repair window. So, got to have a clean car to continue. Cole Ferguson, unfortunately, the driver in trouble.
I saw that too. There was another car that slowed down very, very quickly after the incident. So I'm not sure if they've been involved or not. We'll have a look at the replay in just a moment and try and dissect what's happened. Like it might just be a solo incident here for Cole.
Against the fence, you saw the bump. Yep, too high, up and into the fence.
Oh, someone was clicking right at the back there, and the car that I saw slowing down at the time, and they just slowed down to avoid making contact. There was someone that made contact though, wasn't there? I'm very sure of that.
If they didn't make contact, they were exceptionally close. I didn't see contact personally, but I'm going to trust you on this one, Jay. You're checking it. You're not satisfied that there was or wasn't contact. Now you've gone back to have a look.
No, there's no contact, but I tell you what, Lachlan Mead has done a great job of avoiding this incident. Watch this. Watch the reaction.
Sees it? Oh boy. He bit as well at the right time, so he did handle that very, very well.
Gonna go green this time.
Peeled it back to 2x2. Continuing to be in the hands of Ethan Winter, who's looking for a payday tonight. Do you call it striking pay dirt when you win a cash prize in sprint cars?
Oh,
Is it a mining reference?
I'm letting you. I'm just going to let that one go.
Ethan Winter's going to leave the field to go as well as he goes back to green flag, racing once more. Start of lap 13. In the wide open clothing, hey main here tonight. Bradley Oldfield's managed to jump and get into the P2. Harry Stewart's lost a spot. Blake Walsh is actually having a really good night. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, finished on the podium as well. So he's in another cracking spot for the driver of the 97, having a really, really good 2025. Paul Bryan sits fifth. How about the battles a little bit deeper in the field? Colin Bokus involved. Rattray White's on the outside as well. The 52 machine of Bailey Leeson. Darcy Walker, Craig Dunn, all inside that one, and Bokus just had contact with, I think, Zach Rattray White. So it's all starting to kick off.
Kicking off at the front too between Stewart, Walsh and Bryan as well. So there's lots of drivers starting to struggle with their cars now, and I think they're struggling with the track as much as their cars as well because contact!
Oh, heavy contact indeed! Heavy, very heavy contact! 3 cars up and over!
Wow.
And that's Clayton Davies.
Yep. Clayton Davies is done. How is his car still moving, let alone looking semi-straight? Because he just flipped. And flipped hard.
There was a lot in that. It was triggered by the car on the outside. And he was just got in the wrong spot at the wrong time. They were again, but that's what happens. Realistically, you can say that everything that's gone on here, he's driven well to get back into the feature, but that all comes from the incident all the way back in the heat.
100%. He had a bit of bad luck. Was a little bit aggressive in the heat. Got the penalty. Really just got I feel anyway. Bit Bryan here. Talk about wrong place, wrong time. He's just, seen nothing. All of a sudden, he's ended up facing the barrier. You're in that situation. You don't even have time to react.
Absolutely nothing. I think that was Nick Ryan that got into the 51 machine that was in and around that spot as well.
Dunn was the car that made contact with Oldfield in the first instance. Sorry, Darcy Walker. So race control has actually given Bailey Leeson a penalty. So it was who they've put at fault for that incident. We're going to have one more lap before we get back underway.
Is it just me? It was Bailey Leeson, the driver, that kicked all of that off. So the secondary incident, I think they're calling just avoidance, really.
Yeah. So this is racing 52. It's up against the wall on the outside, drifts down here, forces him back up. Happy with that? It took a couple extra laps, but I think they've made the right decision.
I agree with that, yeah, and a good opportunity to take a couple extra laps to make sure that they sort it properly as well. They've got that opportunity here, and they've leveraged it correctly. Ethan Winter again is going to launch, but have a look at how slicked off the racetrack is now. And finding drive is an issue, no matter where you are. Paul Bryan's managed to get to the inside. Got a better launch than Blake Walsh. So he's going to steal 4th spot away, and Walsh is going to sit at the bottom of the racetrack looking for any kind of drive that he can possibly find. Momentum on the outside once more. And the problem is he's stuck down there, 4 wide in the middle of the pack as well. The 7 machine goes tumbling down through the order.
Nick Ryan made a little bit of contact there, I believe it was with Oscar Ames, potentially, and dropped back a long way. Also saw Brady Baldwin right at the start. He was absolutely hugging the inside wall trying to make that work. He hasn't gained any position, but he hasn't lost out trying that.
Just seen a big slider back up the front, and a caution flag going to fly.
Ryan again.
Just prior to the halfway mark on the heat, and Nick Ryan's 7 machine. And unfortunately, I think we may have just lost Joel Berkeley as well.
Yeah, Berkeley's having his head or a technical issue and something happened with him. I think this is partly a technical issue here as well, because you watch Nick Ryan disappears, reappears facing the wrong way, so I feel like the technical issue has potentially caused that incident. Not sure what race control will do with that one.
Unfortunately, yeah, I don't know if there's much they can do with it, but if the 7 machine is done for the day, that might solve the issue. And we'll wait for Nick Ryan, see what he gets up to, but yeah, I get the feeling he's going to be on pit lane and done for the day. Daniel Boyd is still running as well. He's one of the other cars that has taken a fast repair in a backup car, but is still out there and still circulating.
Probably been a little bit more messy than we would have liked to have seen, but in saying that, it hasn't been a completely horrible wreck fest that we have seen in previous as well. So fingers crossed we see the second half of the race clean up a little bit, but halfway through we've seen as much action in this main as what we've seen in other complete A mains. So strap yourselves in for the next half of this race. It's going to be incredible.
Well, here's the thing. The track is now worn out. It is slick everywhere you look, and that tends to look for the cushion on the outside. See the dirt? It's now packed itself up and against that wall. Ethan Winter is once again going to lead us back to green. Oldfield's going to be the driver who looks to chase as they all try and find a little bit of loam on the bottom side of the racetrack. Anything with a bit of bite is what they're chasing. And Paul Bryan again back to P4. Matthew Gowan's trying to take the momentum away from the 97 of Blake Walsh. Walsh will hang on to it. And Van der Wacker sits back and watches, but cops a mouthful of dust as he tries to spot his way through.
Tries is the exact word. Just can't get through as we're on board with Van der Wacker. Look, where do you go? There's just nowhere that's not completely slick. It's just complete compacted clay with rubber on it now. It's impossible to find anywhere that there's any grip.
Yeah, and now everyone's starting to try and make the berm up at the top end of the track work. Blake Walsh trying to take it away from Paul Bryan. Found some momentum, found some better drive up at the top, but can't really take it anywhere, unfortunately. Harry Stewart's going to take it to Bradley Oldfield for P2 as well. But in the meantime, good luck taking it to Ethan Winter. He is in control. Stewart can't quite get it done, and Paul Bryan just tagged the barrier as well. He's going to get checked up. Here comes Walsh looking for a slide to the bottom of the track. Van der Wacker with issues. Paul Bryan and Blake Walsh just banged wheels.
Van der Wacker threw a huge slide job and almost got it to work. He got 2 positions out of it. Now up into 7. So good job from him. He's going again, but Matthew Downs has got it covered.
And it's just up ahead of the Matthew Gowans, grabs the spot back. Blake Walsh is now trying to throw the momentum. Steelers, Paul Bryan sends it to the very bottom of the racetrack. He's looking for some grip. He's going to send a slider of his own to try and find that middle. I think it's to cover up Blake Walsh, and Walsh tries to respond and turn down the track, but had to lift. Lost all the speed. Now he's got the opportunity to send the slider, finds the hole to slot the car into. Here comes Gowans as well.
What a battle this is. There is absolutely no grip left in this track at all. They're now down into mid 15 seconds. Remember in qualifying they were doing 12 and a half. So absolutely incredible. The pace drop off 3 seconds now. It was 2 seconds when we started the A main. It's now 3 and it's going to get even slower. The only driver doing 14-second lap times at the moment is our race leader, that being Ethan Winter. Absolutely flying at the front. 2-second advantage.
They were just 3 wide for P5. It was on the bottom of the track for Paul Bryan. Vanderwacker shot it through the middle and stole the spots away. Now Gowans is going to respond with his own slider. Here comes Vanderwacker. Does he send the big old slide? You betcha bottom dollar. He certainly does. Up and into the fence. So up ahead is, I think, Harry Stewart. Just got the barriers as Blake Walsh has started to find a turn of speed. He's back onto the podium and might be $40 richer in about 10 laps time.
Tell you who else has got pace is Ayrton Smith as well. He's come from nowhere and started to make his way back through the field. Remember, he had to use a fast repair after that incident on lap 5. So he's making his way back through. He's now up into 8, and he has got the best pace out of anyone besides Ethan Winter. So watch out for Smith come through in the next couple of laps. Still 9 to go. Still a lot of racing left in this one.
There was that big old slider once more from Harry Stewart, but now he's going to lose the spot to Matthew Gowan. So he is starting to ail and fall a little bit further back. Can Blake Walsh do anything about Bradley Oldfield? He's certainly going to try. Slide job's on for P2 at this point in time. Got it done. Does Oldfield have a response? No, I think he caught the barriers. I don't think he has a reply.
Yeah, good job from Blake Walsh. And does he have any pace to be able to try and close that gap down Ethan Winter? I don't think he's got anything in reserve, but he can hold on to this fight from Oldfield behind. He's actually losing a fair bit of time. Find himself in really, really good position for the championship, as well as Vanderwacker goes at it with Harry Stewart. Stewart's just losing ground and losing it quickly now.
Yeah, and I think he might have just touched the barrier once more. Brady Baldwin fell off in the first few laps of the feature, but now he's starting to power his way back through the field. Matthew Gowans is trying to straighten out his corner exits, just trying a little bit of a different line. Ethan Winter, nobody's touching him. 3 seconds down the road. He will not want to see a caution flag fly at the back end of this one. Oldfield's and Oscar Amez went for a wall ride, doing his best Tony Hawk's skater impersonation.
Love it. Damaged the front right suspension though, so he had no steering. He's brought it into the pit, so he's done. What a race this has turned into. I don't think we could have predicted the grid order from the start to then match up with the race positions at the end, because they are just jumbled from where they were. Got no idea where anyone is, and it's still not done as Harry Stewart throws another slider on Brady Baldwin, but he saw that coming.
Yeah, saw that coming and managed to handle it. 2 more laps left to run. Only a couple cautions in the feature race here tonight. Ethan Winter, good luck touching him. You're lucky if you can even see his tailpipe. White flag in the air. One more time by 800 meters worth of racetrack from Eldora, and Brady Baldwin up and into the fence. Final time, 3 and 4, $150 richer. Ethan Winter. It's been a while since his trip to the top step, but he brings it back in style at Eldora, and on a night where it's paying cash.
Good job from Winter in the end there to get the win. Dominant 3-second victory. That battle between Stewart, Baldwin and Smith, those 3 cars separated by 0.3 of a second at the finish, so it was incredibly close between all those guys, but what a drive from Ethan Winter. What a win.
Yeah, very, very controlled. Blake Walsh is going to pick himself up a bit of handy pocket money as well. And he becomes $75 richer. For P3, Bradley Oldfield is going to pick himself up $40, and the final racing result. Matt Gowan's got through the field to P4. Vanderwacker out of 5th will enjoy some championship points. Harry Stewart from Brady Baldwin 6th and 7th. There was a big old slide job battle for those spots. Ayrton Smith, Paul Bryan was quick early on and fell back through the field. Craig Dunn, reasonable night at the office for Craig Dunn. 10th spot for him. Matthew Stables from Cole Ferguson, Lachlan Mead, Bailey Leeson, Brenton Hobson returns to streaming his own dirt races out of 15th spot. Daniel Grimshaw, the last car on the lead lap. Daniel Boyd and Zach Rattray White, both with issues, finish off the lead lap. Oscar Amez and his 50-50 grind to 19th spot. Nick Ryan, 22 laps down with retirement from him. We are in the retirements back here. Colin Bocas actually looked good for a fair while there, and again, wrong place, wrong time, as was Darcy Walker, Clayton Davies, and Joel Berkeley. And that is the results for these boys. We're going to take our step onto the bottom step of the rostrum and work our way up. Bradley Eldfield, and your driver of the 51, comes home. Third spot tonight, the DM Cinematography Royale from Eldora. $40 richer here tonight, mate. That was a dusty, dirty, slick racetrack. There was not a lot of grip left at the tail end of that one. Car fell off just a little bit, and Blake Walsh, unfortunately, just come on a little bit too strong in the dying stages.
Well, I actually ended up short fueling myself. So off that, I was keeping with Winter the first half, and I was starting to feel really good. And then off one of them yellows, I checked my fuel scenario, and I was going to be short by about 2-3 laps. So off that next restart, I ended up having to fuel save a bit, and then I still only just made it at the end. So unfortunately, that hampered me a bit. But I think if I wasn't an idiot, I probably would have been able to at least keep with Ethan Winter and maybe even run P2. He was pretty mega, so I don't think I would have got him. But I was pretty happy with the pace in the end. Yeah, it was just my own mistake.
It's an interesting one because it's actually, I think we've seen about 4 or 5 guys actually underfill across the night tonight. So fuel calculators, do you think just a higher burn ratio than normal, or just poor math? You reckon maybe the research was just a little bit wrong?
To be honest, most pretty much all tracks you can get away with running 24 gallons, and you wouldn't want to run much more than that. But it seems here you just needed to run like just a couple gallon extra. So caught off guard, yeah, as you say, a couple other people done in tonight. So maybe it was just a lack of practice, or you just don't know. There's so many things, but yeah, it happens.
Mate, Eldora, big old, wide old racetrack, cutting your way through, obviously nice and patient through the heats, didn't have to fight too much. Was it good sitting back and watching the C and the B main? Because I get the feeling it was a lot more fun to be watching that than having to be a part of that racing.
Yeah, that B main especially, I was looking at it and I was just thanking God I wasn't in there. There was a lot of good cars in there and everyone seemed to hold their line good. And I think Joel Berkeley's like really good, really strong. He only just made it, being the last transfer. So I don't know what I would have done if I was in there.
Mate, it's been a strong championship for you thus far, a couple of podiums and thus in 2025. How are your championship contentions and strength feeling for the remainder of the 2025 season?
Yeah, feeling pretty strong. I'm doing probably minimal practice at the minute. So I think if I maybe just put a couple more hours in, or just try and bit more R&D. I seem to have found something for Husets and I was feeling pretty strong there, but yeah, I couldn't quite translate that into this, but otherwise I still felt pretty strong anyway. So I think probably just a couple more hours, bit more R&D, and I think I'll be having a go at the win.
Mate, well, congratulations on the race result. Like we said, $40 richer here tonight. Who would you like to give a thank you to?
Pace Power, Six Suspension, Ultra Engines, All Food Settlement Services, Comex Civil, all the guys back in the Discord that helped me out. Yeah, that's all I can think about. Cheers to Darcy for sticking around. He got a bit unlucky, he didn't make it, but yeah, it was given everyone else in the Discord a good spot, so shout out to him. And cheers for Harry. I think in my fuel saving, I may have hampered him a little bit, and he may have lost a couple spots, but sorry to him. But yeah, and just congrats on Ethan and Blake for first and second.
Mate, congratulations. Good to see you again. We'll see you next time out from Fairbury.
See you then, mate.
We'll take one step further up in terms of results. It's a man that's been doing better and better and better on the slick racetracks. Tonight, Blake Walsh makes himself 75 big ones here out of P2, mate. We've talked to you a few times now this season. Don't know what it is, but the start of the races has not been too strong, but as that track starts to slick off, better keep your eyes on the 97 machine.
Yeah, we're making a bit of a reoccurring thing, this. But no, I just wish we could start up the front. I don't think we've started better than 6th all year, and we've sort of had to work our way forward and battle most of the race for it. So if we could get up the front a bit more often, that'd be nice.
Like, in terms of things tonight, obviously quite dry, dusty, and slick at the tail end here. And how about that cushion that was starting to build up on the outside line? There was just nowhere else to be but back up at the top. Difficult to cut your way through and actually break the momentum of the cars in and around you. So it was just wait for it, wait for it. There's the one mistake. I'm only going to get one shot at this.
Yeah, pretty much. This track's a lot more my style than we've had the previous weeks, where I've sort of got something I can pounce off and lean on. But no, I got stuck in a slider battle with like 6 cars, and they kept crossing me. I'm thinking, gee, this sucks. But I think I got lucky every time I slid them at the end. They'd sort of get up in the wall, and it'd sort of break their momentum, and I could beat them into the next corner and start the rotation all over again. But no, you sort of had to think about what you were doing.
I mean, you've been enjoying that. Like you said, you've had to make quite a few overtakes thus far this year, but you also sound like every time we chat to you, you're like, yeah, that was actually a good race, a good bit of fun. I think you're enjoying the challenge, something a little bit different. Like you said, you'd like to start a little bit closer to the front.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely enjoying it. This is sort of the hardest thing I've ran on the sim compared to like your hosteds and whatnot. So to come in and mix it up week in, week out with the best people on here sort of makes me have fun and know that I'm going all right and getting around good.
Finally, mate, your 75 big ones. Richer, who would you like to thank for getting it done here tonight for you in the 97?
Can't thank King Races enough for giving me this beautiful looking hot rod. All the boys at NLRA, and just you guys for putting it on. Brady for putting in the endless hours of work, and yeah, just everyone that makes it happen.
Mate, congratulations. Go enjoy the boys, and 75 big ones. That'll get you a case of beer.
Thanks, mate.
Finally, the man who was nigh on unstoppable from Eldora, it's Ethan Winter. And mate, taking out the feature here tonight, you were just about unstoppable, but it helps when you get to start all the way up at the front, mate. Chaos calamity for a number of other cars here tonight. It was all about just being smooth, clean, and consistent. You've done that from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, as the boys know on Discord, I was getting a bit frustrated with all the cautions because kind of putting us back with everyone else, and I knew once I could clear everyone, particularly like Brad and stuff, I could start running that cut down and running it off the cushion, and that's where that set really came to life. And I told Colin that's probably the best set he's built ever. So yeah, big thanks to him. Wouldn't be possible with all the work he puts in, and yeah.
In terms of things, a big old race here at Eldora, big wide racetrack. But look, I'd love to sit here and say, hey mate, how was it difficult trying to pass guys? But you led just about every lap out of the feature. It was just about getting that launch. So there was obviously that big timing run coming down to throw the green. It was all about just getting good launches each and every time. And from there, it was just untouchable because you just had so much of a lead heading into 1 and 2.
Yeah, I was just trying to mix up my starts there just to put Brad a little bit off so I could clear myself into 1. This cushion was pretty sketchy the whole way around. It was, you could probably see on broadcast, big ledge on it. So you had to be careful not to put your right front, in the cushion, or you'd be up in the fence. So I was just kind of trying to keep the right rear in and trying to rotate the car. And, I did that pretty well tonight. Didn't make too many mistakes like last year. So it's cool to go back-to-back Eldora. It's crown jewel, in this series. So, thanks to everyone involved.
Mate, 150 big ones. Richer here tonight. Who would you like to thank? And who are you buying a beer for with the cold hard cash you've won here tonight?
That'd probably be Colin. Once again, for all the work he puts in. Me, Cole, great teammates, always helping out when they can. Thanks to Brady, of course, for putting, this whole thing together every week and, raising money to race for. It's pretty impressive what he's done with sponsorship, and it's cool to race for money and something. So thanks to him. Thanks to obviously yourselves at SimSpeed for putting on a great broadcast as usual. Thanks to Wide Open Clothing for sponsoring the series. Do you guys know who the sponsor is for the race by any chance?
That would be DM Cinematography.
Yeah, thanks to DM Photography for sponsoring the race again this year. Thanks to Australian Speedway Results, District 23 Suspension Engineering, Trent Pullman Designs, Casey Simons Photography, Vortex Sim Sport, Kenny Offen Racing for helping out, and thanks to Fusion Setup Shop. That's where you can grab exactly that set on their website.
Mate, congratulations on the race win. Looks like the change of teams and whatnot as well is really starting to work with you and really invigorated you in that car, not just on the dirt, but on the NASCAR side as well. So it's really good to see, mate.
Thank you.
Finally, that is going to wrap things up here from the DM Cinematography Eldora Royale. Next round is going to be next week on May the 8th from 8:05 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're heading to February for the Ozcarb Service Illinois Dirt Classic. On behalf of all the sponsors, we ran through them a ton of times tonight, but a big shout out and final thank you, because again, like the driver said, it's nice to race for cash. It puts something a little bit more on the line and makes it feel that little bit more special. Australian Speedway Results, McSlide Race, who brought you the heats, Apex Civil Solutions, Queensland, C-Main, the Simrap Market, B-Main, Wide Open Clothing, bringing you the feature, so to speak, for the replay sponsor, the Hard Charger Award, for Ryan Harris and Mono Creative, and of course DM Cinematography for sponsoring the Eldora Royale. This has been the Wide Open Clothing Australian Sprint Car Series for 2025, Eldora Royale, and that is a wrap.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.